everybody, and welcome to episode 161 of the Let's Play world. I'm over here at the sheep farm, and I got done dyeing all of the sheep. You can see here, if we take a look, I have everybody in this pen, and everybody in this pen dyed either green or lime green. Again, I've got a project where I want to use a lot of green wool, and so this will be super helpful. Back here, I did light blue and cyan, and over here I did gray, light gray, and black. These colors are just a little trickier to make. You know, cyan and light blue, they usually involve a couple of different dyes that you have to mix, and so I thought might as well get a bunch of that. I also made a couple of other enhancements. I added a little staircase here so I can get up to the top so we can refill shears if ever we need to do that. I also added a kill switch in case I ever want to turn this thing off. This will freeze the hopper that's up there so that the hopper clock won't run anymore and it'll just stop harvesting. And then downstairs, let's see if I can figure out how to get down there. Oh, I know how to get down there. Initially, I had this redstone line that was coming back to a hopper clock that would count how many times the farm went off and eventually launch the minecart. I decided to simplify that a little bit. I've got a daylight sensor, sends a signal over. This turns it into a quick pulse. There's a little bit of a pulse extender to get the cart to go. And basically the way this works is when the sun comes up, this sends a signal, it kills the signal sends the minecart off, and then when the minecart comes back, because the signal's been broken, it won't go again. So we just get one minecart trip per day. And I made this adjustment on all three of the farms that run into our base. So every morning the sun comes up and all three minecarts make the trip up to the base. And speaking of the base, I want to run over there and show you a little bit of work that I've been doing. Just a tiny bit of decorating. So when we walk in here and we go, well, first of all, downstairs, you recall that I dyed some armor, or not dyed, trimmed some armor. So we've got these nice armor stands next to our decorated pots. So that looks fantastic. Also, if we go upstairs, did a little bit of work here in the bedroom. Ta-da! I put a clock. And then you can see as we walk up to the portal room, I've got a banner and a piece of art. And then as we turn the corner, just a couple things going on here. So we had these decorative pots. I went ahead and added our tower banner above them. Got an ender chest here next to our chair. Over here where we've got the cake, the bird, and the cup, I might do something on the wall here like I did here. Just went ahead and put a piece of art there. We've got our loom here, and since it takes patterns, I went ahead and put a chest to put our snout pattern in. If we ever have any other patterns, we can drop them in there as well. And just a nice little table with some candles on it. So real simple, but it's starting to look a little bit more cozy. Don't think I'm quite done, but I'll work on that a little bit between episodes. If we run upstairs to the map room, there's something I want to talk about up here. So this is our world map. This is all of the world that we've explored. We started right down here in the spawn chunks. We walked over here to our first base that we built. We also built a mob zoo and a city. We cleared out an ocean monument. We've got a couple of outposts up here in the desert and the mesa. Just recently we built our ship battle. Got our little mountain temple here. This is where we first discovered our first mountain range. And then we came over here, built the lodge. The tower is where we are now, and that's it. Oh, I'm sorry, we did do a chicken falls. Can't forget the chicken falls. And that's it. Still a lot of world to explore. A lot of places we haven't been, a lot of things we haven't seen yet. We haven't found a lot of the armor trims, we haven't found a trail ruin, so there's still quite a lot to do. Just this last weekend was Minecraft Live, and they made some announcements that were really, really cool. Specifically, they introduced the idea of the trial chambers with the trial spawners in them, which is going to be incredible. Very, very cool structure with tons and tons of resources in them. There's new tough blocks, and then there's also a ton of copper in there. So rather than mining our copper, we could just find a a trial chamber and just clear it out. I think that would be a really cool thing to do. They also introduced a block called the Crafter, and this thing is going to be a game changer. It's going to totally change how everything works. For example, let's say you find a skeleton spawner. You could take the output from the skeleton spawner. Skeletons drop arrows, they drop bows, sometimes they drop armor, and they definitely drop bones. So you could take those bones, send them into a crafter, and have it turn it into bone meal. You could then take the bone meal, send it to a farm that dispenses it into flowers to create dyes, and then you could send the dyes into a crafter, and you could have a crafter combine like the green and the white dyes to make light green dye, and you can just automate literally everything. Like everything. You know, imagine if you had an iron farm, and then you took the iron and sent some of it into a crafter, which then created shears, and then I could send the shears over to my wool farm, and I would never ever have to think about refilling it. It would just happen automatically. Or maybe you have a place to deposit sand. The sand goes into your furnace, the furnace turns it into glass, then you could send the glass into a crafter, which could make bottles, and then the bottles could feed into your bee farm and automatically fill up with honey, and then the honey could go into a crafter that turns it into honey blocks. Like, there's so much you can do to connect basically all the farms. You could have like one mega giant master farm. And that to me is very, very exciting. Now, is it exciting enough to reset my whole world? I don't think so. There are some new things that are coming up besides the crafter. You know, right now they're working on some of the things with villagers, how their mechanics work with trading, where certain villages will give you certain types of books and things like that. If they implement that, and when the crafter gets here, we're definitely going to move far away to a part of the world that we've never explored, because I definitely am going to do things differently. You know, the bases that we've built so far, if we had villager interactions like that and we had the crafter block, I would have done these totally differently. So the plan is we're going to do this until 1.21 comes out. Once 1.21 comes out, we're going to move really far away to a part of the world that we've never explored. Now, I've got one caveat to add to that. When they announced 1.20, these were the features that they announced. That's what they announced at Minecraft Live 2022. And it was very exciting. But over the course of the development of 1.20, this is all the other stuff they added. So our Minecraft Live 2023 that happened last weekend, we got a peek at a few things. But if last year is any indication, we potentially could get a lot more new stuff. And if something is just super exciting, we still might start a new world. But as of right now, my plan is to stick around in this one. For anybody who's curious, right before this video, I did a backup, and it's just over 3 gigabytes. So it's getting to be pretty big. Here comes our minecart. Here comes our other minecart. Here comes our third minecart. Fantastic. That's just great. We are getting a lot of wool. When you look in here, it's still mostly white, but you can see where I started to make some green, and the other colors are starting to trickle in. So this is working fantastic. Bamboo, we're doing really great as well. Occasionally I go in here and bundle some of it up, and I've been putting it up here in these areas, but we've got a lot of bamboo to work with still. The sugarcane farm is usually pretty slow. I don't know. Yeah, we haven't even filled up a full chest yet. Trickles in. That farm is not very big, and that allay, he works as quick as he can, but we don't need a lot of this stuff either. Usually we'll turn this into paper or sugar or something like that, but we don't need a lot of it, so we're doing okay. Here, I have a plan for this, and I'll tell you what that is in just a minute, but first, I want to run down to where we were working last episode and talk about some of this stuff here. So we had talked about formal gardens, and these cobble lines here are just kind of marking out where the formal gardens will be. So you can see this one is a little bit of a slope from this corner down, so that'll be a little bit interesting to kind of deal with. This one over here, I didn't mark out yet, but you can see there's kind of a big hill back here and mostly flat in the front. This one, I thought it would be trickier than it is, but it's actually pretty flat up top. Like we'll build our gate here, and then there's just a steep slope down to another flat part. So they're all going to be a little bit different, have a little bit of a different flavor to them. Let's run down here. Oh, hello, trader. So we just finished working on this gate in our last episode, and between episodes, I went all the way around and I built it up about one more block and then put either a slab or a stair or a wall on top of the whole thing. So the whole wall is now spawn proof all the way around. And it's looking pretty good, I think. You can see as it comes down here, there's some blocks that are a little bit more textury. That's ugly, we should fix that. And yeah, some of these walls and these stairs, they make it look a little rough, kind of broken up. This river that we were working on comes along, and you can see here it runs up to the wall, and then underneath the wall is a little bit broken. I had this sort of open, but iDuggles, who is one of my viewers, suggested the idea of kind of like a culvert, like somewhere that it ran into. So I put some iron bars down here just to see what that looks like. I wish that the bars went up a little bit more. I tried 2, but that looked like too much. So we'll let these sit here for a little bit and see what we think. The wall continues up this way. I haven't done any terraforming, so this will hopefully look nicer and make more sense later. And I built a second gate. This one is similar to that other gate, but not exactly the same. They have some of the same kind of cues and that sort of thing, but they are a little bit different, just so they each have their own personality. Kind of a weird hill here. I'm not sure if we'll keep this or not, but it kind of gets really close to the entryway here. The wall continues along, and like I was saying, we'll do another wall, or not another wall, another gate over there, and then eventually we'll do a gate on that side as well. Last weekend, I did a live stream, and a bunch of you tuned in, which I really, really appreciated, especially since I didn't really announce it. I'm going to try and do it every Saturday to kind of get things started. So, yeah, you can mark your calendars, or if you're a subscriber, you can see when the streams are going to happen and get notified when they start. Last weekend started a new project, and that project was right over here. We hop out of our gate. Somewhere over here, there are some torches. Let's see if we can find them. There they are. Gary. Yes, I went to a website called Chunkbase, and I found a slime chunk. And right here is how we get down. And what I did is went way down and started mining out the chunk. And it's about 10 blocks tall so far. You'll see as we get down here, there's a couple of different platforms. So here we've got the top platform, and then right below it, there's another platform, and below that is another platform, and below that is another platform. And so this sort of follows the chunk exactly. And what I plan on doing is some sort of more permanent light source. And then one of these walls we will kick out a little bit and we'll put some iron golems. So if we get slimes spawning in here, they will chase after the iron golem, fall off our little ledge, and then we'll come up with some sort of collection system to break down the slimes and get their drops. And then I would like to collect all those drops and bring them back up to the surface where they'll get deposited into a minecart that we can take over to the base. So let's see how much of this slime farm we can get done. Okay, we have these nice platforms here. You can see we've got some golems luring our slimes off to the edge here. And way down at the bottom, I've got a bunch of hoppers with campfires on top of them. The soul campfires do twice as much damage as a normal campfire, so hopefully those will make quick work of any slimes that come through. And I've got one golem on each level here, and everything's lit up so nobody can spawn in there. Slimes don't care what the light level is if it's in a slime chunk. So you can see we've got these nice big platforms. There's 3 of them. And then because there's another slime chunk right there, I duplicated all of this 2 chunks over. So there's a hopper line that runs across here, all the way over here, and then right behind this wall, I have a little redstone contraption to spit the items into a water stream, and then when we break that ice, that'll all turn into source blocks, and it'll bring the items up to the top. Last thing I need to do is just grab my stuff and break down this staircase. Well, 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 look at that. Seems to actually be working. When I was building it, I didn't see a single slime or hear one, and I was a little bit nervous that maybe something had changed with the game, but seems to be working. I think what I'm going to do is take this tower up just a little bit taller, make a little bit of a capsule, kind of like we did with our other farms, just big enough to collect the slime balls, load them into a minecart, and then we'll build a little track that goes right up there to deposit it in our base. But I think I'm going to save that for another episode. And that's where I'm going to wrap this one up. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you had fun. Please like and subscribe if you want to follow along on the adventure. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.